So I want to be super clear here. Just because something is meant for you, it doesn't mean that you don't do the work required to keep it. And I'll be using that term very loosely, meant for you. And we'll explain that in a lot more detail in a little bit. But the reality is that some things are meant to be for you. They're meant to be in your life. They're meant to be a part of your life. But they won't exist. They won't be present outside of the work you actually put in. They won't exist if you don't create the space for them to actually live and thrive. We can't expect something that is meant for us to stay in our lives if we don't actually create the space for that thing to thrive. You are asking for these huge things. You want these huge things in your life. You want the benefits of all these amazing things, but refuse to do the little things that will make you comfortable enough to keep that thing in there. There's this character building that happens in the waiting, in the moments that you are creating the thing, creating the space, doing the work required to make this thing happen. There's something powerful that happens in that moment. There's some character building that we all need. And we can't expect these amazing things to be in our lives, let alone flourish, if we don't create the space for them to exist. It's impossible to grow into what will serve you if you're still holding on to what didn't. Like, what if this next season of your waiting is required in your release, not on your hustle? Like, not on your perfection, not on you having everything figured out, not on you doing the most or being extra, but simply the things that you're willing to step into. It is impossible to grow into what's for you and will actually serve you if you're holding on to what didn't. Like, what's next in this season it's waiting on your release, of letting go of the things that you didn't succeed in, the things that weren't tangibly good. But this next season of your life is not going to require more hustle. It's going to require more release, because sometimes we are trying to force things that clearly do not work, or clearly did not mean to work, or clearly are not serving us. We're trying to force those things to exist. And for a lot of us, unfortunately, we create this terrible division between our actual life, our goodness, the things that are going to be beneficial to us, and the things that we're stuck in, because we've made the things that we think we need, we made those the center point of everything else. And I need you to understand that there is no point in your life where you trying to force something that actively shows you that it does not belong into your life is ever going to be beneficial for you. Like, there's no point where that thing is going to make sense. So our insight here, if neuroscience shows us that there's something called the cognitive load, emotional overwhelming, and it limits our ability to think clearly, to take risks, or to even spot new opportunities. Until you release something, your brain literally has no capacity to receive something new. Now, this is how big that is. That's neuroscience showing us as reality, that until we let go of the things that are taking up space, we don't create a space for the things that belong to live. You are holding on to something or someone or an era in your life that you think you still need, but it's showing you that it doesn't belong. And until you let that thing go, you do not create the adequate space for the thing that's going to thrive and make you the most best version of you, the most beneficial, most powerful, most moving, most inspirational version of you to be existed, to exist in this world. And we keep holding on to these things because we think that these things are eventually going to pay off. I need you to weigh that. Because the things that are beneficial for you are not things that are going to force you to feel outside of your peace. I'm not saying those require work. That's the first thing I even said. These things will require work. But there's a difference between work that is fruitful and work that is purposeless. If you're trying to force something into existence, you're not allowing yourself the space to receive. You're not allowing yourself the space to be in what's good for you. Releasing isn't giving up. It's refocusing your energy. It's you allowing what serves you to grow. It's allowing this freedom. You allow yourself this freedom to see and not to fear what you're unable to finish. We stay in these ruts because we've created this almost placeholder mentality for these things, thinking that if we continue to envision them in certain places, even though they are not beneficial for us, even though they're not serving us, even though they haven't been good to us, we think that at some point they're going to be good to us. We think that at some point they're going to realize how good this thing is or how great this opportunity for us will be. I need you to stop holding on to what you've imagined and start taking accountability for what's real. What's in front of you? What's a tangible thing? Is this thing actually purposeful and good? Is it bringing you peace? Or are you sitting here trying to convince something to be what it's not? I think we struggle with this so often because it's so easy for us to fall back into that. It's so easy for us to revert to the thing that used to be the thought pattern that we had, that we don't allow ourselves this freedom to actually grow. This mountain that we're talking about, this mountain of knowing what's meant for you. Like, if it's meant for you, you wouldn't have to chase. And I don't mean don't do work. I don't mean don't show up. I mean, you won't have to chase things that are actively running from you. The things that are for you will create this understanding that, yes, again, it requires work. Yes, it requires dedication. It requires you showing up. It requires you pursuing. But there's a difference between pursuit and chase. Pursuit desires to exist, chase desires to get away from. And the things that you have to consistently chase are going to leave you tired. So we're going to dive even deeper into these points and this reality and this thought process. But whatever it is in your life, I need you to understand that there are things that you attract and there are things that you're attached. When we attract things, we allow ourselves to be in the thing that is naturally for us. When we attach is that we're pulling on to something or holding on for dear life to a thing that is actively trying to remove us. And there is no peace in the things that you have to attach to. Leeches, that's the other word. Leeches that we're sitting here trying to attach to something to get some morsel of blood, some morsel of energy, of food that's left over. When you are attaching, we are not the best version of us. We're attaching because we're begging something to pick us. We're begging something to feed into us. We're begging this thing to see the benefit of having us. But in reality there is no benefit to something that's leeching. There is no benefit to something that is attached because there's no mutual want or for. There's just you desiring this and this thing actively running from you. And when we're able to sit back and really analyze that, am I actually giving something like this? Am I actually serving into it? Is it actually growing? Is it fruitful? Is it purposeful? Or am I just attached? And when we learn to attach, when we learn that we're attached, this is when we start actively looking to detach. We start actively creating this space to move away, because it's so much easier for us to look at this thing and blame ourselves instead of looking at it and saying, well, this thing does not belong in my life and it's not serving, it's not purposeful for me. And we'll talk a little bit more after this real quick commercial break. One of the things I wish I knew earlier in my life is that I didn't need to be extra for what was for me. Like, I simply just needed to be me. Like, I didn't need to overshare or show up more or overpour or do the most or sit and be anything extra for anything that actually belonged to me, anything that was a part of my life, that was going to be fruitful in my life, that was going to be bringing peace, that was going to be beneficial. I didn't need to be somebody I wasn't for those things to be attached in my life, for those things to come and be a part of me. Because if I have to pretend to be anything else outside of me, I'm always going to have to pretend. Like, I'm always going to be this extra thing that isn't just good, that isn't just me, that isn't just the present person that I am, but it's the imitation of what I think that they would love. And the reason that we struggle so much with healthy relationships and friendships and family members and all these things, we struggle with this so much because we pretend to be something else. So when we get into these situations, it's not just that we're pretending to be something else. Now I have to act differently consistently all the way through just to be present to that. And we create this struggle in us because now it's not enough for me to just be myself. I need to be the person that you wanted me to be. The greatest thing I've ever discovered is that me being me will always keep the people that love me around. And they'll push away the people that don't. Greatest lesson that you'll ever learn is that you are responsible for what you can do and not the outcome of anything else that anyone else is around. Not what they hear, not what they receive, but simply what you're able to do yourself. And in the season of growth and growing into what's different and allowing ourselves to not need to chase the things that are for us, we have to come to that understanding that if it does not freely flow, it is forced. If a thing is not natural, it's a clear opposite. It's unnatural. And you have to be anything less than yourself to keep it. If you have to pretend, if you have to act, if you have to be different, then you're not actually attracting the things that are for you. You're attached to the things you think you need. You're attached to that mindset, that thought pattern that you've created, that desire, that dream, and not the thing that is good for you. And I know it's so easy to say sometimes, right? Because we have to actually go through this and grieve these realities that we're not with the things that we want. We're not in the places that we want. We're not in the world or the lives or the career. And I want to speak into that actually, because before we get any deeper, I need you to understand that, again, this ties to absolutely everything. And I know most people, we run to like relationships and stuff like that. I honestly think that should be yes, it's a real problem, but that should be the last thing that you're ever really focusing on. Because healthy relationships will be fruit from this, or they will grow from this particular thing. But I think that for a lot of us, we've created a life that we think that the next stage is the happy stage of our lives. The best part is the next part, and it can be a good part, but it doesn't have to be the best part. The best part is the part you're in now. When you start realizing that the moments that you're in are the moments you have to enjoy because they're so limited, everything else changes. You don't feel forced to think, okay, well, if I take this next career and if I do this next thing and if I do this extra work, then okay, then that's when I'm going to be happy. Now I want to be clear. I'm not saying don't like prepare. I'm not saying don't hope, don't dream. I'm not saying don't set yourself up for the future. What I am saying is though that you might not have the future. Like tomorrow is not guaranteed. Like next month isn't guaranteed. So what are you enjoying now? What are the fruits that you're in now? And I get it. I'm a person. I'll be completely honest with you. If you're listening to this podcast, first of all, I'm so grateful for you. And I'm only able to help anyone by being fully vulnerable myself. And there was a stage in my life where I was really struggling. Like there were stages in my life where my bank account was constantly negative. There were stages in my life where I'm sitting here thinking none of this is working. Like none of the things I want to do, even now, even in this stage that I'm in right now, I'm still looking at things like, what if this doesn't work? Like, what if the success is for the season? And I remember I was praying with that. I had this word for me, and I hope this helps you. As I'm praying with this thing, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, but I have to enjoy this. Right? Because, yeah, what if it doesn't work? Yeah, okay, what if it does? That great other option. What if it does? But what doesn't matter is that. What matters is right now, is a season that you're in. And enjoying what you can enjoy. Yes, the problems are not going to go away. They're going to exist regardless. So the option is, what do I give authority to? Do I consistently choose to sit here and be anxious and be worried about everything else? Or do I actually give myself the grace and the space to actually enjoy where I'm at right now? There were stages in my life, like I said, that I was terrible financially, that I was in all these crappy situations. Right now, I'm in the best I've ever been, and way more than I've ever could have anticipated, and I've been gifted way more, and I've been loved and shown into way more, but it doesn't matter. It's enjoying the moments, because even in your terrible worst moment ever, if you are looking only for the bad, I promise you, everything will be bad. If you're only looking for that negative thing, everything in your life will be negative. But if you actively sit here and search and just try to find the good, and yes, I'm not diminishing it, not saying that it's leaving, not saying that it's going to go away, but when we actively look for those things, we allow ourselves the ability to enjoy and actually bask in those things, to actually be in what's good, and not demand that everything is bad. So just this reality that, yes, if it's yours, you don't have to chase it, but also you have to enjoy the stages that you're in, the places that you're in, because none of this is going to grow without you. And I firmly believe this, that when our vision on this changes, when our perspective changes on this, everything around us changes. Because if I'm able to see the good, even in the bad, I will only focus on the good, so much so that I'll amplify it, that I'll make it a part of me, that my response to everything is from this good place and not this miserable place. And if this is you that's struggling with the season right now of not being able to find the good, I want you to take a second and just think to yourself, what have you been focusing on? Like, is the thing that you hyper focus on the terrible thing that's happening? Or is it the good? Or is it the little things, the little moments of joy, the little moments of spending time with friends, the little moments of just doing the little things? We're so focused on the big picture. Again, I'm not saying don't prepare. Do what you have to do. Plan accordingly. Work accordingly. But don't make those things a highlight of your life, because you might not live it. You might not get to those points. So as we continue on, right, with this reality of choosing the things that are yours, and if it's yours, you don't have to chase it, right? There's this mountain of being in things that are not beneficial or good for us. We need to learn more, to love more what we endured and not what we're stuck with, not obsess over what left. But reality is that it's a gift to have the ability to be able to choose what's for you, choose what's choosing you, and staying in those things, and not staying in this thought process of what left. Because in that same breath, as we just mentioned right before, that a lot of us obsess over things that we have no authority in. We obsess over things that we have no control over. And we'll continue to be in those things, and they'll continue to kill us. Because it's our struggle in this ability to let go of things. It's okay to let go of the things that were going to kill you. It's okay to outgrow the things that you thought were meant to be a part of your life. It's okay to look at these things that you gave so much love and authority to, and say, this thing doesn't serve me anymore, so I'm not going to continue to pour into it. I'm not going to continue to beg or plead for the things that were meant for me, because if it's meant for me, I will never have to be less of me to receive it. I want you to take this season and enjoy and embrace the things that remained. And if the things that remained were just strength, if the things that remained were just growth in you, and that's the gift. That's the reality of this. Sometimes we over obsessed over the things that we thought were meant to be in our life because we think that if we let go of that thought, if we stop thinking about it, if we get over it, we heal, then we don't allow that thing to have its place in our life. And that's a lie. It's beautiful to hold on to memories. It's beautiful to know that this thing served a season and it was good in that season, but it doesn't mean that this next season of your life has to have it in it. And again, I know I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm saying that it's real. Because one thing it's to say, okay, well, I can just heal from everything. Because if you were able to just heal from anything right away and not dwell on those things or not be able to bring that pain and that memory, then it never actually mattered. So it's okay to understand that there's a purpose for that. But that season should remain as a season. It should not remain as a thing that you are consistently living in. Because you'll never grow, never heal, and never allow the space, like we mentioned before, for the things that belong to belong. You'll struggle with this battle. And for a lot of us, we struggle with that consistently because no one's ever mentioned it to us. We never actually sat down and analyzed, why is it that I'm still holding on to this thing that isn't choosing me? Because if it was meant for me, I wouldn't be chasing it. If it was meant for me, I wouldn't be forcing it. The reality is that as you grow, as you progress, as you change, everything else around you changes. Like when you become better at certain things, when you become more efficient, when you are better at your timing, when you're better at your career, whatever that thing is, when you become better at it, everything around those things becomes better. When that becomes the heart of it, the focus of it, everything in that place improves. And sometimes, unfortunately, as we improve, certain people don't improve with us. And there's certain people for different reasons. That doesn't mean you don't love them, you don't care about them, but they don't go into the seasons that you're going into because they can't serve the places that you're in. They are not meant to be in those places. And I know we struggle a lot with growth because we think, well, if these people were my friends or if I was in relationships with these people, whatever it is, we think that they're going to be in every page of our book. There are some that absolutely will. But there are many who benefit from the worst version of you. There are many people that as you improve can't go to that next stage because they're so used to the lower stage of you that they can't relate to this person of you that desires to be better. And the worst case scenario is that those people bring you down. Now, again, I'm not saying that you change and you be fake, because a lot of people look at this and say, well, that's being fake, right? I'm not being fake to a person that I've known forever. No, because you have to be able to distinguish. There's a difference between people who are good for you and people who are good for the season. There's a difference between people who are benefiting from the things that you were doing, from the lack of love that you have for yourself, and the person that you're pretending to be. There's so many people that benefit from that. And we have to be able to distinguish between those two things. Are these people that are meant for life, or are these people that are still in the season? And that season doesn't benefit you, if it doesn't help you, if it's not where you're going, if it doesn't align with the growth, then unfortunately those people have to be removed. And as you get better, as you grow, unfortunately, those things are shown. So if these people are meant to be in your life, if they're meant to grow with you, then they will, again, follow those same exact rules that for everything else. They produce fruit in your life. They're beneficial for you. They're good to you. They bring you peace. If hopefully all those things. And if they don't, if they're just bringing you back to a person that you used to be that you don't need, if they're causing gossip or distinguish or hate, I think, and again, I speak from these things mostly through experience, either through studied word or readings or books or with their experience. But this is one of those things that I absolutely speak from experience, because I think the most peaceful moments in my life, the most peaceful era of my life comes from not having a lot of people around me, like not having access or people not having access to me. And it's not that I think I'm better than anyone or that I'm the greatest or none of that stuff. It's completely about me putting myself in a place where I refuse to be a part of things that are terrible for me. I refuse to be around people who are constantly gossiping. I refuse to be around people who have nothing good happening. I refuse to be, if your friend group, and this is an important thing you need to understand, if the people that you have around you only gossip about other people, the people you have around you are only doing drugs or just drinking, or the people you have around you are only doing these terrible things, and these are not beneficial people for you, like for your soul, for your health, for your life. They're not good for you, because think about it. Only miserable people are so preoccupied with other people. They're so concerned about this. So if every time you are around these people, all you do is bash other people, I need you to understand that these people are not meant to be in the good seasons of your life. They're going to be there because you are there now. But it's not people that step into this next thing. As you grow, as you change, things around you change. You can't do the same thing and expect a new outcome. It won't be different because you'll revert back to these places that you shouldn't be. You'll revert back into these holes that you should change. You can't step into these new levels of life living in a version of you that's old. So if these things are meant for you, you wouldn't have to force them. And as we stay on this mountain, we talk about that reality where we're chasing the things that don't actually belong. We're trying to force them to stay. You wouldn't chase it if it was for you. And we'll talk a little bit more after this quick commercial break. So the biggest point here, what I think is this probably, we have a couple more there, but I think this is the most important one because I've mentioned it so many times already. What belongs to you won't compete for your peace. Like the thing that is meant to be in your life won't make you feel like you have to compete with it. Like won't make you feel like it's going to go against the natural flow of things. It won't make you feel like you're miserable in it. It won't make you feel like there's no fruit in it. I'm not saying again there's no work, because there is work, but it won't make you feel like nothing is good. It won't make you feel like you're terrible. The part of you that is meant to be in this thing, and this is everything. This is an easily discerned word. We can discern this very easily. We'll take an example of a relationship, because I know this is one of those struggles that we often see. It's like low-hanging fruit, and I say it all the time. You're chasing something, and it's never reciprocal. There's no effort. There's nothing given back to you. There's nothing that's given to you. This thing is not serving your peace. It isn't. It's impossible for it to serve your peace because it's going literally against your peace. It's going against the thing that is healthy and good for you. It's making you feel like you're less than. It's making you feel like you're not good. If it's causing you chaos, and we do that often. We trade off our peace for chaos, and we call it potential. We trade off the things that are good for us, and we override our intuition thinking, well, you know what? This person might change, or they might offer something different. We do this often because we want to see the good. We want to see this thing happen, but why are you chasing? Why are you chasing the thing that's for you? Why are you willing to trade off your peace and your joy for this thing to exist? Like there's no reason, no logical, no tangible reason for us to do this. But we keep falling into this because we think that if we allow this to happen, that love has to have pain, that there has to be these struggles. Yes, there is pain, there's growing pains and everything, but there's a difference between pain with purpose and pain without. And we can't, like we mentioned in this podcast, we can't turn pain into purpose if we continue to stay in the thing that is killing us completely. You can't heal or grow in the thing that wants you dead. There is no change there. So is this thing actually bringing you peace, or is it bringing you torment? Like, are you in the middle of a storm trying to make it happen, or is it actually beneficial for you? Love doesn't have to hurt. Success doesn't have to drain you. It doesn't have to feel like you are completely obliterated for it to exist. And I know we see this in culture, right? We think that, not to dive too deep, but I think romantic movies have ruined a lot of things for us. Like we think that we have to go through hoops and fight things and do all these extra things just for this to actually happen. We don't. Like there's no reason for this to happen. But we fall back into these ruts and these routines because we think again that this is what it's supposed to feel like. Like we think, well, sacrifice is supposed to make me feel miserable. No. Yes and no, because yes, sacrifice doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it feels comfortable, because again, it's sacrifice, literally sacrifice. But it doesn't mean that you feel like nothing is happening and you feel purposeless in it. That's not sacrifice. That's not good sacrifice, at least. You should still feel purposeful. You should still feel peace. But it doesn't mean that you just continue to stay in that thing because you think that it's supposed to hurt. Because you're supposed to feel that way, that sacrifice is supposed to be painful. No. Everything that's peaceful and purposeful, while can be painful, will actually show itself to be useful. Will show the goodness in it. You will never feel like it's a rut. You'll see the progress. Because again, it takes us to the reality. Are you chasing or are you pursuing? If you're chasing, you have to tire. You have to do the most. You have to be extra. And you'll never catch. If you're pursuing, then you're building, right? You're building a bridge. We build out and up. We build something with purpose. You're not being punished. You're being purified. And I think that this is hard for us to understand, because as we go to the things that are meant for us, and whatever that looks like, for some of us, we'll think that that is punishment. And sometimes that good sacrifice, that not necessarily the sacrifice that it's painful and purposeless, but the sacrifice is painful and purposeful. That sacrifice it feels painful because we think we're punished, but it's actually we're being purified. The things around you as you grow and as you change are going to leave. And a lot of us don't realize this, that pain is that growth is painful because, like, again, I use an analogy often, like growing pains where your knees hurt, right, stuff like that, because this next stage that you're going into, you've never been in. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know the struggles that are happening there. But if you were to rush this, if you were to get to that next stage too quickly, and the things that are going to happen is that you won't be able to be the most purposeful you in that stage because you didn't go through the growing pains that it took. So you weren't ready to be in the clothing, the shoes that are required to be in the next stage. You are going to be hurt. And it hurts more to have a chance to have something and lose it because you were not prepared than it is to never have a thing at all. Like knowing that you had this thing, this possibility in your hands, but you didn't do the work to prepare, or you weren't prepared for it, and it falls through your hand, then that's the most painful thing ever. If it's for you, you won't have to chase, but you will have to prepare. And you will have to be in a stage where you're ready for when that thing exists. A lot of us want to be in the next stage of our lives, but we're not doing the bare minimum of the things now. So what makes you think that you're going to be able to keep up with that? What makes you think that you're thriving in that life if you haven't been here? A lot of people say this often. I agree with this. If you can't manage $10,000, you're not going to manage $1 million. Like, it's just not going to happen. You're going to think because you have more money that you're going to be able to do more. No, you'll just lose more quicker. If you can't manage the little things, and Scripture tells us, right? If you were fruitful because you were faithful in the little, you'll be trusted with more, right? If you can't manage where you're at now, that next stage in your life will kill you. So being able to grow now, grow purpose and bear fruit in this now will be beneficial later. But knowing that the thing that is for you, if you're doing the work, it will be for you. You won't have to chase the things that are not for you because the things are for you. Because the reality is that if you have to chase again, you'll be tired and it'll be out of your purpose. We're waiting in seasons. And I love that analogy often. And again, this is, if you don't follow faith or anything like that, it's a very common terminology in the Christian world, right? We say we're waiting in this next season of our lives, but this next season of your life can be purposeful, but it won't be outside of the effort that you're giving. We repeat seasons. So again, just that meaning of seasons, it's like any season of fall, summer, spring, right? We just categorize it that way because they look different. There are different things that are happening in that time. And that's actually a great analogy because we get real deep. We won't because we don't have a lot of time left in this episode, but we can get real deep where different things grow in different seasons. And there are different aspects of that season that go beneficial to the time frame we're in. Like, I can't want a season that is beneficial and purposeful in the summer to exist in the winter. It won't be the same. It won't have the same purpose. So the season that you're in now has to be congruent and beneficial to the time frame and the work that you're doing. It has to be in that place that you are actively in. And our final last point here, everything you lose isn't a loss. And some things are exits wrapped in mercy. Sometimes that the biggest prayer that's ever answered. I think that is one of the greatest prayer I've ever heard. One of the answers to prayer, it's God not answering the things that I've asked for because those things would have killed me. Because I wasn't prepared to manage the season that I thought I needed to be in. Because I wasn't able to grow in that thing. Sometimes you want something to happen so bad, and that thing doesn't happen, and you think that your life is over. But I need you to understand that it is the biggest gift that you have ever received, because that thing would have killed you. Like, that thing would have ruined you. That thing would have made you the worst version of you, and you thought you wanted this thing, but you were so grappling with it. You were so gripped to it that you couldn't see anything outside of it. You only saw that. So what happens is that as you are so engulfed in this thing, and as you want it to happen, forcing it to happen, and it doesn't happen, you think that the world is over. Imagine how much more it would have hurt if you were in it, completely invested, and completely in it, and that thing would have hurt you. It would have left you. That season would have ended. The career, you would have been fired. The relationship would have ended. You would have lost all the money. You would have lost the job. Whatever it is, that thing would have hurt so much more to lose it while you were deeply in it than while you were still in the exterior. And even if you were close to being that deep, it saved you from years and years and years of struggling more with it. The things that are for you, you don't have to chase. And again, I'll reiterate it always, doesn't mean there's no work. But if they're for you, then these things will feel purposeful. You won't feel lagged or tired or out of peace, but you'll always feel in purpose. So thank you for being a part of this episode. And if you made it this far, first of all, thank you for listening to the whole thing. One big ask that I don't often make, and I'm just going to make it here, and I might make it in the beginning of the next one just to be consistent. I ask two things from you. Apparently, I need people to go rate this episode. So, or episodes in general. So, it would be awesome for me if you could just give it whatever your honest opinion is. That'd be great. It was 5 stars, but whatever. And share this episode with somebody. And it's weird. I was actually listening to episode 13 today, and if for me personally was a lot. It was good. Like for me, I needed it. I needed to hear that. So I'm gonna ask that if you feel like there's anything beneficial, someone you know, share it, because I think that's the only way. I mean, well, of course, for me, obviously, I would love this to happen so I can continue to share these words with people, because this is what changes for me. It allows me to be able to continue to do this, but also because it helps people who might have not thought of these things to think of these things. And our job is just to be conduits for other people to find their peace. That's really all we can do. So thank you for being on this episode. Thank you for listening or for watching if you're on YouTube. And I hope to hear you, see you on the next one. Take care.